Hello, hello. Today is April 17th. It is a Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, and this is episode 4. And today we're going to talk about why you want to do the things that you don't want to do. So I was actually talking to somebody about this yesterday, just about willpower and how the most effective way to increase willpower is to do things that you don't want to do. But also they're like one of the other people that I just love listening to, like somebody I really love talking to. His name is Andrew Huberman, right? And chances are like he's a pretty popular guy. If you're not familiar with him, then I'll tell you. So Andrew Huberman, he's got a podcast. He's super dope, but he is a neuroscientist and ophthalmologist at Stanford University, right? And he's a professor over there and does a lot of research and stuff. But anyway, on his podcast, he talks about science and science-based tools that you can use to improve your life overall. And one of the things that have come up a couple of times on his podcast is willpower, right? And so I find it really interesting because when it comes to specifically doing things that you don't want to do, there's actually a lot of great benefits to it. And so there's a distinction to be made here. When we're talking about things that you don't want to do, I want to be very specific with that language instead of calling them things that are difficult or things that are hard, because just because something is difficult or hard doesn't make it not satisfying. So a good example of this will be like exercise, right? The thing is that there are definitely people out there who don't like exercising, but if you are someone who enjoys exercising and then you exercise, you will still not get the same ultimate joy or the positive response that you would get if you were to do something else that you don't enjoy doing. So I'm just being a little stereotypical here. So let's say that you're somebody who enjoys exercise and are therefore someone who doesn't particularly enjoy chess, right? Or reading or something like that, right? Because you have the whole nerd jock stereotype. Well, if you are a jock who doesn't like doing nerd stuff, and then, so in order to get the benefits that I'm about to talk about, you need to do the nerd stuff. All right, but let's get into it. So Andrew Huberman, he had an episode where he talked about David Goggins, and David Goggins came down to his lab and did some stuff. If you don't know who David Goggins is, he's a phenomenal human being. He's in his 40s. The guy was 300 pounds overweight, depressed, wasn't in a good spot in life. And then he joined the military, and he has been a Navy SEAL. I believe he was special forces in the Army and also in the Air Force. So he's been in 3, did all of these, did the rigorous basic training, or the rigorous training for all 3 of them, not just the basic, but for the actual jobs, right? Completed all of that stuff, and here he is in his 40s or 50s. And he's still going strong. And so he was studied by Andrew Huberman because Andrew Huberman wants to know, what makes this guy tick? How is he able to get up and continue to do difficult things every day? While doing that, they did not just physiological stands on his body, but also on his brain, and did interviews and trying to figure out more about his psyche and his background, etc. And we don't need to get into all of the specifics of David Goggins and his life story, right? He wrote a book. You can look him up, just like Andrew Huberman. These are pretty notable figures, so the information is there. If you go on Instagram, YouTube, Google, whatever. But the main takeaway that I got is that from listening to his episode about willpower and David Goggins, is just that part of the reason why the dude looks so young is because of the voluntary exposure to unwanted circumstances or unwanted action is that he puts himself in, and there's a distinction to be made here. So I think one example that I used was exercise. Another one I want to use is drama, right? So when I'm talking about doing things that you don't want to do, I'm not talking about starting a fight or needless confronting someone that didn't really need to be confronted, and having that just be a terrible and not constructive situation. So I really think the best context would be somebody who loves working out sitting down and reading a book, or someone who hates writing and journaling, actually taking the time to write or journal, right? Exposing themselves to this kind of discomfort. And, whether we're talking about journaling or, cold plunges or ice baths or running if you're someone that dislikes running, or exercising if you're someone who dislikes exercise, or any of these things, something is very interesting. So several things are very interesting. One of those things is that apparently when you do these things, it stimulates a part of your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, right? Or AMCC, I think is what neuroscientists and those types of people refer to it as. So the AMCC, anterior mid-cingulate cortex, is responsible for your sense of willpower and essentially your ability to persevere and go through things. And so the more you indulge in activities that are enjoyable, the smaller this part of your brain gets. But the more, just like any other muscle, right? The more you do things that you don't want to do, the larger this part of your brain gets. And the thing is we all have the capacity to do things that we don't want to do, but it can be more difficult, especially if you're somebody that's usually or used to chasing pleasure, because if that's just who you are, then that part of your brain it's weak, it's small. And so to make it bigger, to make it stronger, it's really about just doing things that you don't want to do and increasing that threshold for willpower, making that part of your brain stronger, making that muscle stronger. Well, okay, so the other thing that's very interesting about the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, other than the fact that it's the part of the brain that's responsible for willpower, is that the stronger it gets, the bigger it gets, there also seems to be a correlation between that and vitality. As in, this, and by the way, this is all coming from Andrew Huberman. He explains it way better than I can. And the reason why I referenced the David Goggins episode is because you can find out more information there. But essentially, the stronger that part of your brain gets, the longer you will live, right? And so, which I think is insane. And it's not just oh yeah, you'll live longer, but it also has the capacity to prevent and even reverse some of the side effects of aging, which can include shortened short-term memory, increased or decreased functioning of long-term memory, decision making. It actually can lead to mental acuity and health on a longer time span, with just that alone. If I'm somebody that doesn't like exercising, and then I start exercising and exercise, even though I hate it, the thing is that part of my brain, the AMCC, then becomes bigger and stronger. And as a result, not only am I going to be in better physical shape because I exercise, but I'm also going to be mentally stronger for longer because I'm partaking in this activity that I don't particularly enjoy, even though it's healthy for me. So that's one thing. And so here's the other thing, right? Let's talk about the timing. So you can do things that you don't want to do in the afternoon, but there's actually a huge benefit to doing these things in the morning. So we have a bunch of different neurotransmitters and chemicals that are released within our brain. And one of them, which is often referred to as the stress hormone, is cortisol, right? And so the thing is about cortisol is when you're asleep, so one of the things, one of the chemicals and neurotransmitters that help you go to sleep and stay asleep is going to be melatonin. So melatonin, I think a lot of people are familiar with hearing it being referred to as a supplement, something that you can buy in a store, and etc. But the thing is it's something that your brain naturally produces. So you don't need sleeping pills in order to get melatonin. Melatonin is naturally produced on your way to bed. And so if a comfortable environment is created and you put yourself in a comfortable position and you dim the lights and then you give your brain 30 minutes or more of zero stimulation, then what happens as a result is you go to sleep. And there's some other factors too, when was the last time you ate? If you have calories to burn, then that can be keeping you up. If you just partook in some activity 30 minutes prior to bed, then that can also be keeping you up. The elevated heart rate and the rush of endorphins can interfere with like the melatonin, and like there's a bunch of other stuff. Like we don't need to get into it, like sleep hygiene stuff. If you listen to the last episode, then you would know like sleep hygiene stuff, and I recommend going back to listen to that so you can hear some of the things that I was talking about, referring to like what can help you with sleep. But long story short, it's just about expulsion of energy prior to going to bed, and then making your bedroom a place that is effectively only for sleeping and sex. Like that's basically what it's about. But you can go, like, dude, yeah, go listen to that episode. There's some other good gems in there, I think. Maybe, I don't know. This is my opinion about my stuff, and if I hype it up too much, like, wouldn't that just be pretentious? Like, I don't know. But going back to some of the effects, so like the time in which you do things that you don't want to do can matter over the course of 24 hours, because if it's at night, it's not like it's bad, but it's just not going to have as much of a profound effect as it would in the morning. And so there were some other studies, and this is once again like an Andrew Huberman thing, talking about dopamine in particular, and dopamine and cortisol. So cortisol isn't just a stress hormone. It's not something that's just released when you're upset. It's actually also released to wake you up. Like that is what wakes you up in the morning, is your brain releasing a shot of cortisol, and that is what helps you open your eyeballs. Is the cortisol. So completely healthy. Cortisol is good. Obviously, just like anything, like too much of anything is bad, and so you don't want to put yourself under too much stress. But anyway, like once you wake up in the morning, get out of bed. If you have a difficult time, listen to the last episode, and like that'll give you like one of the hacks that you can probably use in order to get out of bed. But get out of bed, and then if you partake in an activity that you don't particularly enjoy, so this can be a cold plunge, this can be an ice bath, this can be journaling if you're somebody that doesn't like journaling, this can be running if you're someone that doesn't like running. Insert difficult activity here, or multiple difficult activities, really dealer's choice. What happens is, as your overall levels of dopamine are depleted or are sent to a low point at the very beginning of the day, well, what happens as a result is your brain, it basically autocorrects, and like it'll correct by then feeding your brain a steady stream of dopamine throughout the rest of the day, or feeding itself a steady stream of dopamine throughout the rest of the day. And this goes for like other feel-good chemicals, like oxytocin and serotonin as well. But yeah, like I think it's really dope. So the thing is, like, no pun intended, but yeah, like we can have better days by like we can have a better 24 hours by consciously exposing ourselves to something that's positive yet stressful in the morning. And then if we do this consistently over a long enough time period, we will then have literally years added to our life as a result. When it comes to the specific metrics, like I highly recommend listening to the Andrew Huberman thing, because like I don't remember all of them. But yeah, I just think it's interesting. That's the reason why I'm making this episode, and this is definitely going to be a shorter one. I don't want to like just talk to talk. But yeah, like let's see. Just for the sake of buttoning it up, I think maybe giving some personal examples may help. So at this specific point in my life, I have been I've been running and doing exercise in the morning, and I recognize that like I enjoy lifting weights, so I wouldn't attribute that to being stressful. But one thing that I don't enjoy that I've been doing in the morning is waking up and then running. I even described this, like when I was in high school, I was in the cross country team, right? So I ran long distance in high school, and we did 5Ks in particular. We really didn't do any 10K events. There weren't any 6-mile runs. But what I realized while doing this thing in high school was that I didn't get any enjoyment or satisfaction, even after doing it consistently over a longer period of time. I didn't get any satisfaction out of the running itself. What gave me the motivation to continue in cross country was really two things. So number one, it was the sense of community and accountability and the people there, because I liked the people. So that was part of it. But the other part of it was the sense of accomplishment that I got for finishing the race, just for not stopping. And so that's just me personally. I'm not somebody who's naturally competitive. That's not a quality that I have. I tend to compare myself to myself. I've pretty much always been that way. And as a matter of fact, if I feel like I'm beating somebody, I then have the natural tendency to want to help the person that I'm beating or conquering. I want to lift up all the boats, raise all sails, whatever you call it. I'm just that kind of person. I want to see everybody win. And that, yeah. I am a giver. On a scale of 1 being, a taker and 10 being all give, I'm probably like a 7 or an 8, I would imagine, right? When it comes to like, I'm pretty charitable as a human being. And it's even taken me a while to get to like that 7 or 8 valuation. But yeah. Anyway, for me, I started running in the morning, started exercising in the morning, started being more intentional about talking to people more often, which is becoming more enjoyable, to be honest. Like, I'm enjoying it. I appreciate people. I love other human beings. I love different perspectives. I love helping people. And the best way to help people starts with a conversation and starts with an introduction. And so I really like that, that part of what I do and how I live. And like that's what's been helping me in the morning. Some people will blast cold water on themselves. Some people will cold plunge. Some people will do ice baths. Some people will journal even though they don't perceive themselves as writers. Some people start drawing even though they don't see themselves as creative. It's really just about doing something that you don't want to do. That's really what does it. And if you do it in the morning, it will literally make your day better. And by the way, the inverse is also true if you do something that's pleasurable in the morning. So an example of this would be like taking a shot of Bailey's or alcohol or something like that. Something that's pretty common in our society is marijuana, cannabis. So like, if you wake up and you smoke in the morning, if you do a little wake and bake, this can actually have an adverse effect of giving you the feel goods in the morning, but then the rest of the day kind of sucks unless you get high again. And the whole reason why is because the opposite is true. Your brain uses pretty much its dopamine for the day at the very beginning. It realizes that those dopamine levels are then not normal, and then it self-corrects by then depriving itself of dopamine. And this is the reason why your day will suck if you wake and bake. Science. That's pretty much the episode. I hope y'all learned something and liked this one and thought it was cool. And if you've been enjoying these, particularly this one, I think the audio is probably better and the structure is probably the best so far. And the whole point of this podcast is to forever get better, which means the episodes will more than likely improve. And there may be some plateaus at some point, but they certainly will not get significantly worse. It's all qualitative anyway, but that's just my opinion, which is definitely biased because I'm the one making it. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And stay blessed. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.